Hello guys, this is Space Opus Vlogs here. Probably about 10-15 minutes ago, I recorded a video. And I uploaded it. And I thought, well, I wanted to say more, so I'm going to do that here. And the reason why I didn't is because the phone was about 9% charged, and I wanted to be able to make the video and then upload it. So this is basically just a continuation. And while I'm not going to necessarily be talking about what's going on in LA and, whatever, I'm going to talk about my opinions about the fact that we seem to be driving ourselves towards a seemingly I don't know. Obviously, this is a very raw, unfiltered thing. But to me, it is surprising how far we have fallen as a country. And then maybe that's the reason why recently we've had movies like Civil War. Well, yes, it was a stupid movie. But the idea that the political differences are so great now that we would fight ourselves. That brothers would fight against brothers, fathers would kill their sons, sons would kill their nephews. You know what I mean? A lot of Americans seem to have forgotten that we are Americans. That when you cut us, we still bleed red, we still feel pain, we still have hopes and dreams and fears and aspirations. We've forgotten that, seemingly over the last 10, 12, 15 years. We've seemed to have forgotten that we live on the same flag, we generally hold to the same values, we generally believe in freedom and democracy and liberty and justice. But for some reason, we seem to have gotten in our heads that the minutia is important enough to potentially risk civil war. You listen to the talking hosts of the right, and they attack the left. They call the Democrats crazy and irrational. Except, these people are protesting, police violence. And, we don't want to die. While on the right, y'all motherfuckers are dressing up like fucking barbarians with like fucking horn hats, and you're storming the Capitol building. It's like, yes, both sides are causing problems. We can acknowledge that both sides are causing problems. But if you're going to say that the Democrats have some crazy people, but you're not going to say that Republicans have a bunch of crazy fucking people who are arguably even more fucking unhinged and dangerous, then we'll have a problem. Yes, there are weirdos in the Democratic Party. We can acknowledge that there are weirdos and crazy people in the Democratic Party. But you also have to fucking point to the fucking Republicans that were advocating for the disappearance of U.S. citizens for the crime of questioning the government. I don't know about you, but isn't this the United States of America? Aren't we supposed to be able to do that? I thought we had freedom. That's a big fucking thing that you stupid sons of bitches talk about. We have freedom. We are the land of the free. Except when it gets in the way of the supreme dictator. Oh, then you disappear. You get arrested. You're labeled a terrorist or a traitor. You're a dissenter. We have U.S. soldiers in a U.S. city aiming their guns at U.S. citizens. And the Republican Party are crickets. They ain't saying anything. If they're saying anything at all, it's in support of it. U.S. soldiers in U.S. cities aiming guns at U.S. citizens. I don't know what country I'm living in right now. But I can tell you, it's not the one that I pledged my allegiance to. It can't possibly be. Because I go on YouTube and I watch the news. And I'm seeing people getting disappeared. And arrested. And threatened. This doesn't make any sense. And the Republican Party isn't saying anything. They're not criticizing this. They're fucking lifting it up, and they're proud, and they're happy, and they're smiling. They're smiling as 5-year-olds have guns aimed at their heads. They're smiling while a grandma is being slammed onto the ground, handcuffed, and then thrown into a vehicle. They smile as families are being ripped apart for no goddamn reason. Only because, well, you're brown. You're brown, so you're going to get into this vehicle and you're going to be disappeared. We haven't proved that you've committed any crime. Due process has not been done. But we're going to fucking ship you off to who knows where. At some point, there's going to be a point where the abuses become too much. That happened in 1775. That happened again in 1861. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 2025 there'll be another one. Or 2026, or 27, or 28. But there's going to be a point where the abuses are piled up too goddamn high. Where the violations of our liberties become one too many times. You put one more straw on the camel's back and it breaks. When patriotism starts being labeled as terrorism, when patriots start getting labeled as traitors, it is not treasonous to pick up your guns and start shooting them. It's not treasonous if you start doing that. That's your civic duty. When I was a kid, we pledged our allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, not to its government, to the country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My allegiance is to my country. My allegiance is to my people. If the president will not do his duty, then he's not my president. He's not your president. As such, he needs to be removed. And if he will not leave peacefully, then he shall be removed forcefully. Now, we haven't got to the point where we have decided that we need to do that. As far as I know, we haven't yet decided that our civic duty, our civic responsibility has escalated to this being a necessity. But how many more times does our civil liberties, our rights as American citizens, how many more times do we have to turn on our TVs and watch a grand mob get body slammed onto the goddamn ground? How many more times do you have to go on your internet and read about an ICE raid? How many more families have to be ripped apart? How many more communities have to be harassed? How many abuses do we have to suffer? How many more times must I wake up, go on the computer, and watch a YouTube video talking about ICE agents, or the military, or the president? When you take away the rights of an individual, even one individual, you take your rights away as well. Because if you can do it with one person, or with one group, you can do it to all groups. That's why it's dangerous. That's why we have to be careful with what we do. Because if I can take your rights away, if I can tell you that you can't get an abortion, or that you can't smoke marijuana, or that you can't get a tattoo, or you can't, I don't know, fucking travel overseas, if I can tell you you don't get to do that, then eventually I don't get to do that. And you don't get to do that. And your best friend doesn't get to do that. And that's dangerous. That's really fucking dangerous. And we should not want to live in that kind of country. Well, the President of the United States is treated like he's a god. Nobody is above the law. Nobody, not even God, if he exists, not even God is above the law. Nobody is. Not me, not you, not your governor, not the president, not even God is above the law. We all must answer for the actions that we do, for the actions that we don't do. For the words that we say and the actions that we do. We must answer for them. I don't know what's going to happen in the coming days. I hope that we can resolve these problems peacefully. But every day that every day that passes, I don't know, it seems like we're itching closer and closer. If you told me that civil war might actually be a possibility in 16, I would have laughed at you. I would have laughed at you, because that would have been ridiculous. That would have been patently ridiculous. But if you told me today what my opinions are in regards to a potential civil war, I don't know, it seems like it's at least a coin toss now. You know, like, before, sure, maybe it was like 20%. Now it seems like it's approaching 50. Maybe even more than 50. I don't like this at all. I don't. It makes me, I feel sick right now. I feel sick. I literally, physically feel sick. I'm not just saying that to be dramatic. I literally do. I literally do. I don't know what the hell is happening. But it looks like to me like the nation is unraveling at the seams. We have a political party that's acting more like a cult, that's treating Donald Trump like he can literally order the execution of 5-year-olds, and no one's going to say anything. That treat protesters like they're traitors, that like fucking protesting the violations of our rights is somehow treasonous. Well, good, honest, patriotic Americans are being treated like they're dissenters, like they're dangerous, that they need to be, put on a watch list or something, like they have associations with Al-Qaeda or some other terrorist organization. Well, all representatives are being arrested simply for asking questions. What the fuck's happening to this country? What the fuck is happening now? Well, we can't even ask questions anymore. Well, we can't even have a difference of opinion anymore. Because if you disagree with the president, all of a sudden you find yourself in handcuffs in the back of a fucking vehicle. And you don't know where you're going. Because you're not being given due process. You're just thrown into the back of a vehicle and you disappear. You get shipped overseas to supermax prisons, where you are walked like a slave, where the president frequently fucking kisses the asses of dictators and authoritarians. White supremacist groups love Donald Trump. They love him. They fucking fly Confederate flags and Nazi flags. They fucking invite terrorists, enemies of the country, and treat them like they're, fucking respected heads of state. This country is a joke. This country is a fucking joke. And I'm sick and tired of watching fucking GOP talking heads acting like everything's normal. It's not normal. This is not normal. This is fucking weird and dangerous, and it's concerning. Nothing about this shit is normal. This country hasn't been normal in years. And I don't know how long we're going to be able to maintain this country if we continue to do what we're doing. I worry for this country. I do. Legitimately. I worry for the livelihood of this nation. Thank you for your time.